Our state has some incredible problems. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. I'm here to talk about that with you and talk about the trends that have shaped this state and dragged us in one direction or another. We're not really we're not realizing the dream we had way back in the early 2000s or even around 2008 or 9 or 10. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. Welcome to WowBiz Nebraska. We're going to get it on right now. Population growth is the key issue in the state of Nebraska today. This is an issue that has been brewing since 2002, and we get more specific and be as honest as possible about population growth. We're really talking now about workforce development. Only 5 weeks ago, an economic summit took place in Lincoln, Nebraska. I was there, and we talked about the statistics that surround and depress us as we talk about the people who are leaving Nebraska. Nebraska's getting older. We're having a hard time keeping young people in our state. Stick around. I'm going to give you a solution. Let me say that again. I'm going to give you a solution to this problem. Governor Ricketts, the entire unicameral, all the chambers, economic developers, mayors, listen carefully. There is a solution to this problem that is bringing us down, and obviously it has to be compensated for, so it becomes a tax issue. We also have affordable housing issues, but population is specifically the ability to attract young workers, particularly what I would call young professionals. This is the key factor for success. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. You're right here with me on WowBiz Nebraska, and I have a four-sided, we'll call it a four-dimensional solution to this chronic problem. Everybody's tried all kinds of things. Nothing has really worked. Most people I talk to out in the field, they're at their various communities, and they say, well, we're doing the best we can do, but not a lot has really happened along those lines. It's really a struggle. Of course, our economic development department is going outside the state. Wonderful idea to try to find Nebraskans that have emigrated to other states, Chicago, Minneapolis, etc. Come back, come back. So I applaud them for that, but there's a bigger, more high impact, multi-layered solution that is beckoning us, shall I say. And once again, you're on WowBiz Nebraska. I'm going to explain this to you for the first half of this show. The back end of the show, I'm going to continue what I did the previous week right here on WowBiz Nebraska. I talked to you about this moment I had when I was 16 years of age. All kinds of interesting things came out of me in a group situation. People have asked me since then, what did that lead you to? What are you doing with that information, or that incredible experience that I had, that I shared with the audience at that time? And I'm going to talk about that. 4 or 5 different presentations that I give that were, like I said, inspired by that kind of breakthrough moment that I had when I was 16 years of age, and wanted to talk about my position and the confusion surrounding the entire world. That was in 1967, I believe, something like that. So here we are in 2021, coming out of the back end of the pandemic. I'm not sure that we're done with it yet, so there is a lot of angst, a lot of confusion, and then, of course, we have this incredible amount of money coming into our state, federal money, ARPA money, as they call it. And I believe there's another wave of that money coming in a little bit later on, a couple, 2, 3, 4 months down the road. So the question is, as a municipal planner, as a mayor, as a chamber official, what do we really need to do? What would we do with this money if we could get it? And how helpful would it be? And under those circumstances, we're prone to be a little bit parochial. Well, how about the jungle gyms behind the elementary school? Yeah, that's a good idea. And then, of course, we have that bridge just on the edge of town. We can fix that up. We need to work on that. Yeah, good idea, right? And so all these things are bubbling up, and people are feeling like, I got to go for this portion of the pie. But not a lot of people, I don't think, at least based on feedback I'm hearing, are thinking really big, making a legacy plan, shall we say, for the revitalization, and I say that consciously, the revitalization of this entire state, Nebraska, particularly insofar as how we can attract these young people, retain these young professionals. 3,000 of them leave a year. And as we do that, we're tumbling down towards the bottom, by the way. Not a lot of people know this, in competitiveness we're number 36 or 37 or 38 in our ability to attract people, keep people, start new businesses and so on. It's not a good situation that we're in. Everybody knows it. They don't know what to do about it. We'll do our best to see what happens, right? We're really talking right now, we're really talking 25, 30 years down the road. What communities across the state are going to look like and how they'll behave. What will happen to our state 25, 30 years down the road? We're making decisions right now that will be answering that question. So, again, I will share the solution with you right now. I have to tell you that this is so exciting to me. There's so many people that have heard this. They don't know what to do with the information. How do we fund it? How do we act upon it? What's responsible? So I'll move ahead. And I want you to think, as we go forward here, I want you to think about a square. Obviously, four-sided shape here. And in the middle of it is the state of Nebraska, and maybe a little kind of a swirling thing, because it's going to indicate that we're moving around inside the square, as indeed all interdependent strategies work like this, right? So let's say on one side, we'll say on the left side of the square as you're envisioning it here, the first key issue is, of course, finding an environment or creating an environment in your community. I don't care whether you have 6,500 people or 400,000 people. Creating an environment that is actually attractive to these young people, to 25-year-olds. And they want to live in a dense area with maybe 2 or 3 stories. They would like to be able to work and live in the same general area, maybe not even drive. They don't really believe in driving cars around, polluting the environment. So you got to be thinking along these lines. You got to tune into what they're all about. Now, we call this situation urban natural communities. Urban natural communities are defined by urban natural high contrast. I'm going to say that phrase again, very important, high contrast building materials on the exteriors, the facades of the building, as well as on the interiors. Now, I could talk forever about that word, but we don't have time. The idea is wood and metal, opposites, right? Wood and glass, organic and synthetic. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You'll see buildings like this around. There are going to be many, many more, because really, and it's been proven with Nobel Prize-winning research, it's unbelievable. When you look at the way these two materials come together, again, I'm talking about wood and glass, wood and steel, wood and tin, organic and synthetic, muted colors with vivid colors. Anytime we have that kind of contrast, it actually energizes and stimulates the brain and stimulates the visual cortex to release dopamine, kind of a feel-good hormone, into our brain. Now, it's a subtle reaction, but it is, in fact, a reality. And it's what some people would call good vibes. You know, I feel good about things, good mood. Very important to these young folks that we're trying to get down there. So think about 2, 3, 4 blocks of urban natural buildings, high contrast building materials on the exterior. Now, that's not the end of it. That's the beginning, but obviously we're talking 6 figures or more in terms of getting these rehabs done, and that's very important to keep that in mind. But it's a long-term investment in looking attractive to your target audience. Not to the 60-year-olds in the city council, but to the young folks that you'd like to move in and make a commitment to your community. Make it gorgeous and eclectic. All right, now, next side of the square would be what we call Nebraska, which is a business ecosystem. Ecosystems are defined by interdependence. People join the ecosystem so they can help each other succeed. This is a very young, contemporary, cutting-edge philosophy. A lot of business people have a little trouble with it because they just want to do their thing. You know, those days are over. That's old school. Speaking of old school, a lot of business people, young people, feel like the bosses in their businesses are too conservative, too traditional, not open to innovation. So that's got to be part of it as well. So business, growing business, innovating within a business, and making the culture inside of Nebraska's businesses. This is what I'm talking about. There's 45,000 of them, by the way. 45,000 that need to deal with this issue and really focus on making their cultures more meaningful, more interesting, more attractive to these young people. Now, In addition to that, I just mentioned these issues with managers and business owners. We got to move into management 3.0. It's a new era. Industrial hierarchical management doesn't work anymore. So there is a new way to manage, shall I say, and educate business owners across the entire state, and simply educate them about these young people and what they respond to, how to motivate them, how to manage them on projects, how to work with them, how to get the best out of them, how to give them the feedback they need so that they'll stay committed and work hard for your company. So that's business owner training. That'd be the third bar in the square, right? And then the bottom square, this was brought to my attention by a prominent researcher here in the community. He said, you know, Lynn, we need business succession. We need some way to organize, choreograph, format something so that business owners, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, want to retire. They want their business to continue, right? And they got to find somebody younger who will have the ability, the leadership, the character, the integrity, the vision, so they can move in and take over the business. And there's got to be financing options. So that's the fourth side of the square. Let me restate them now carefully for you as you think about the sides, the four-sided system for revitalizing the state of Nebraska and making the business sector attractive and interesting so that these young people say, you know, I noticed there's some new things going on here. Maybe we'll stick around. Yeah, that'd be a good thing to hear, right? So urban natural architecture and design, which is, by the way, very green, organic, interiors as well as exteriors, urban natural, eclectic design, organic and synthetic within and without, all right? So we've got to have a downtown that looks beautiful with this style of building. Next, we have to have the business sector committed to growing double digit. I'm not talking about a 10% increase in sales. I'm talking about the question, what would it take? What would it take for you to do 10 times the business that you're doing right now? That's the kind of thinking, the mindset that these young people are waiting to get involved with in that kind of a dialectic. Great. So we have downtown. We have the business sector focusing on new forms of growth, digital transformation, et cetera, innovation. The third sector, of course, would be business owner training and certification so they could separate themselves from some will say, hey, I don't care about that, but some will. Some will say, we get it, we buy into it, we understand what young people need in our culture to be motivated, to show up to work on time, to do their job, to evolve as human beings, not just employees. And then the fourth line there in the bottom of the square I just described for you would be some form, process for business succession, helping young people find the right kinds of businesses, get vetted appropriately, and meet business owners across the state of Nebraska and possibly take over their business with some financial support as well. That's the four-sided system that surrounds every fundamental problem in the state of Nebraska. I want you to think about it carefully. It's a square. It's not easy. It's going to have to be repeated. Not every community will buy into every single aspect of this square, this revitalization formula. But let me tell you, it's a good answer. It deserves funding, deserves examination by everybody in your community. I'm Lynn Hinderocker on WowBiz Nebraska. We are here sharing key trends and key ideas with leaders of communities across the entire state of Nebraska. I thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Again, we've got a great second half of the show, but we're going to transition right now and tell you briefly about the sponsor of WowBiz Nebraska. The name of the company is Urban Natural America. Urban Natural America is a real estate development firm, and consultants, by the way. They partner with general contractors, real estate developers, architects. They work with landscapers. They help communities communicate the vision, and that's really it, by the way. So many communities, we've seen this before. They sit around and they're trying to be serious. They say, well, who are we? Now, what are we trying to do here? Who are we? It's a good thing to chat about, but the key issue, and this is what we bring to the party, of course, is who do we need to become? Who do we need to become 20 years from now? And what changes in the physical environment need to take place so that we're attracting people that can lead this community forward 20 years from now and further. So we're consultants, we provide a vision, we make sure the community and the contractors and the consultants and all these people are working together. We rebrand your community often because now you're going to have a brand new magnet for young talent here in the state of Nebraska, and you're going to hold on to your talent once you get the entire system in place and you have a marketing firm helping spread the word about your newly revitalized community here in Nebraska. So that's Urban Natural America. It begins with architecture and construction and wraps up with strategy, innovation, and outreach, digital marketing, trying to get these young folks to say, hey, we might want to go up to Wayne, or let's go out to Kearney. It sounds like they're doing something really special there, something interesting. That's Urban Natural America. Thanks so much for watching, and pay attention to urbannaturalamerika.com on the web, by the way, please. All right. Last week, I had kind of a moment with the audience of WowBiz Nebraska right here, and I explained something happened early in my life. When I was a farm kid, I was 16, I went to a leadership camp and got the opportunity there with a bunch of strangers, 8 or 9 other kids, and a wonderful man who was a facilitator of this interaction, this exercise that unfolded. Now, I'm talking mid-60s, by the way, at this particular point. He said, just go ahead. Anybody wants something to say, just say it. Anybody in the room, no judgment, no criticism. We won't cut you off. Just say whatever is on your mind. We want to hear what you have to say. He said that to 8 people in just a little cabin, musty little cabin. And I spoke up. I spoke up. And in fact, I spoke relentlessly for 90 minutes. I didn't plan on doing that. I didn't have any idea that was going to happen. But it all came together inside of me, and there was a release there that was really powerful and impacted everybody in the room and so on. And since that segment, and I shared that with you, a few people have said, that's really interesting. What have you done with that experience, right? What have you done with that experience? Where has it taken you, all right? And so what I'm going to do right now is, some of you know I do some speaking around our country at various trade shows and universities and chamber events and so on. So I'm going to share with you some of the presentations, maybe 4 or 5, quickly, just summarize them, because these are all children of that moment, right? Something happened when I was 16. It was my primal inclination to use a word that Robert Greene has used, and it led me in a direction. So now my job, I believe, in my life, right here, is to say what many people want to say, not just want to hear, but want to say. That my job is to kind of be a messenger in a way and kind of say what it is that you wish you could get out, but aren't quite sure how to get your hands around it and articulate it correctly and make it meaningful, not embarrass yourself, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to talk with you right now about a few of those presentations that came out of that moment. The first one, and by the way, some of them are businessy, some of them are personal growth, some of them are a fusion, and that tends to be how my career has evolved, and that's just the way I'm at. It didn't really work, by the way. That idea didn't work a few years ago, a decade ago, or whatever. Those were 2 very separate topics. You're either a motivational speaker or you're a business trainer kind of a guy, right? And so it was difficult really for me to say, hey, I've found a way to pull these things together. Well, maybe, maybe not. So here I am here today at this stage in my career trying to bring you innovation plus inspiration, left brain plus right brain, strategy plus spirit. Does that make sense to you? This is an age, let me just go off here for just a second. This is a time of convergence. This is what people are looking for. They're trying to figure out, a lot of young people have quit work. About 1/3 of all the workforce has just left, not meaningful to them. They're trying to pull together, connect the dots, try to extract meaning from just the very idea of work, not just some individual or some company right here and he pays me $15 an hour and he pays me $16 an hour. Is that a reason to move? I don't know, right? So this is a very interesting time in our culture, and I believe that what happened when I was a long time ago, 16, I guess, has prepared me, I hope this isn't hilarious, has prepared me for this moment in time. I really believe that. I really do. And so I'll recap very, very briefly right now. One of the presentations that I've given over time that came out of that moment, that seminal moment, is vision, fusion, and passion. All right, that's a presentation that I've given many times because many companies don't have any of those three things. And this is a time when people are saying, what have we missed? What are we forgetting? Have we skipped something here? Because people are acting different than we wanted them to behave right now. And the answer is this threefold answer. You need a vision. You need to embrace the notion of fusion, which is pulling people and ideas together and technologies together. That's fusion. And then finally, passion. We don't need passion around here. Yes, you do. You need fuel to keep going during this difficult and confusing time. So that's one very cool presentation. Another one, this one lit up the PACE organization. That's a trade show or trade association for the call center industry several years ago. A lot of those people, they don't really understand the call center operators and different managers. They don't really understand sales, marketing, advertising, okay? They're all kind of run together in their mind. They don't know exactly what they mean. But when I brought out a couple, right in the middle of a presentation, a couple began doing the tango. I know this sounds odd, but right in the middle of the presentation, I'm talking about marketing in the future and how we got to get closer to the customer, all those good things. And here comes this well-dressed, elegant couple, and music came up in the auditorium, right? And tango music was playing, right? And this couple began dancing the tango right in front of all these business people. It was incredible because it was such a wonderful metaphor for reciprocity and fluidity and give and take and pacing. The prospect said this, so now we say that. They want a proposal, so we've come back with that. And of course, all these elements of persuasion and relationship building are really wonderfully symbolized by watching a couple dance the tango for 3 minutes or so. And so we did that at that particular presentation. I got to tell you, that was a home run. Everybody likes the entertainment, of course, as well as the metaphorical insight. And so that was definitely a big one. Now, I'm going to finish up here on WowBiz Nebraska. Again, thank you for watching right here. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker, and I'm excited to share something with you right here. It's called Turn on the Juice. Turn on the Juice was a presentation that I gave a while back. I actually did this on camera at the very beginning of our series of programs here at WowBiz Nebraska, and it went over extremely well. And also, it's a personal thing. A few years ago, my family was gone out of the house on a Sunday morning, I believe it was, and I was walking around the house. I think I had my robe on or whatever, and I'm listening to a little bit of music in the background, but all of a sudden, I began to feel real creative, shall we say, and courageous, and every single thing that was coming into my mind was connected to something previous. So I got my paints out. I got oil paints. I got them out and got my poster over here, and I'm painting. I hadn't done this for years. I'm painting. I'm listening to this music. And then all of a sudden, I had this feeling like I need to write. So I came over here, and I'm writing some poetry. Right? I hadn't done that for a long time either. And so I got these two things right here. And then I thought, I'm watching myself, right? So I had to sit down and write an essay about what was really going on inside of me. And I call it juice, right? Some people call it life force. Sounds like kind of a spiritual word. Life force. It was a divine influence. It was some kind of a form of inspiration. I said, what is going on here? What is happening with me? Because I am having a ball and I'm creating all this stuff and it somehow is related. I can't exactly say how, but I could go on doing this for hours. I'm just having a ball, right? Turn on the juice. And the number one thing that has come to me that I can relate in this short format here is ego. Right? As we know, ego's with us all the time. We're always saying, am I doing good enough? Am I doing the wrong thing? I'm an idiot. I'm great. Blah, blah, blah. All this stuff is going on inside of us. It goes on everywhere. But at that particular moment, that particular day, I don't know why or how or whatever it was, but I don't think I had any ego at that time. It was like some door opened, and then all this interesting stuff, all these ideas, and I'm writing what I'm going to do next week, and all these great plans, and I've got all this stuff out here, and I still have all the paintings, I have the poetry, I have the essays that I wrote. It was a huge breakthrough, very, very quiet, very silent. I was doing it all on my own. And people afterwards just said, how could I do that? I would love to have that feeling, right? I would love to have that sense of relaxed confidence and manifest. I want to express myself just like you seem to in that particular thing. And frankly, it's harder than it sounds. I hate to say that. I don't mean to be discouraging, but it really does require self-awareness. If you're feeling insecure, if you're worrying, if you're down on yourself about something you did or whatever, that's going to block. It's a blockage. It really is. A limitation prevents you from doing what you're capable of doing. And that's why I tell people, I said, you're probably more talented and have more to offer the world than you think you do. And so that's a big challenge. Well, those are some of my, that's my offering today that reflects what I learned and the experience that I had when I was 16. I'm kind of bringing it up, repackaging it into a professional context, right? And again, I'm blending strategy and spirit. I'm talking about innovation and inspiration. I'm pulling it all together, and I feel comfortable doing it for the first time. I always was worried I can't talk about business. We talk about personal growth. I don't know if we can bring that, but you know what's happened because of the pandemic? Mental health has become a real issue. That kind of opens it up. Meaning at work opens it up all of a sudden. I think I'm the point of the spear right here insofar as messaging is concerned. This is Lynn Hinderrocker, WowBiz Nebraska. Thank you so much for watching. It's been an unusual show, but remember at the beginning of this show, there is an answer, there is a solution to this chronic and debilitating problem that our state has. Please watch us again. We'll talk about it again more down the road. Thanks again for watching WowBiz Nebraska.